What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Ballaholics, episode 10. Right now, actually. Yeah. Episode 10. Wow.
Okay, well.
We have. Wow. It's been a really long time, actually. 10 episodes in. Magic number. Perfect 10. And, we got a lot to talk about today. Mainly the NBA. Actually, all of the NBA on a show centered around the great sport of basketball, guys. One thing that we want to start with right now is obviously with All-Star Weekend coming up and, getting, 50-plus games through the season, almost nearing the end. It's crazy. Yeah. Almost nearing the end. I thought the season started yesterday. October was only like how many months ago? It's February now.
Felt like yesterday. October felt like yesterday.
And honestly, it's been a good season. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of surprises. If I'm going to be honest with you, which probably we'll talk about later, especially regarding trades and things like that. But for now, we want to talk about the Eastern Conference. Everyone knows that the Western Conference is one of the strongest conference in the league, I think. It kind of is unanimous looking at the Warriors, looking at the way the Denver Nuggets are playing, stuff like that, and just how consistent those teams are. I mean, comparing the standings, looking at the standings on a table, conference standings, you could be 10th in the West, but you could have over 30 wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But meanwhile in the East, you got over 30 wins, you're probably sitting top 5, which is crazy. So we want to put focus on the Eastern Conference for this first portion. Which team in the East is the team to beat right now?
Which team in the East is the team to beat right now? I'm going to say it's the Milwaukee Bucks. Talk all you want about Kawhi Leonard. Talk all you want about the Boston Celtics supposed to go out of the East. Right now, the team to beat is the Milwaukee Bucks. Look, last season when they lost in the playoffs to the Boston Celtics in 6 games, that coach didn't know what he was doing. Didn't know how to utilize Giannis Antetokounmpo to the best of his ability. This management now knows. They added Brook Lopez. Shout out to the GM, John Horst, for surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo, your MVP, with shooters. This team is actually second in the league in three-point shooting. They added Brook Lopez, a center, 7 feet, and he shoots 3-pointers. He makes 2 3-pointers a game.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's insane. Actually, Brook Lopez never used to shoot threes, and this season he's made 35% of his threes this season out of his entire career. You look at this entire team, Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, having his MVP season, throwing monster jams. His length too. He's insane. I mean, his length is, I don't even know. He is the best player in the East. He is better than Kawhi Leonard. Yes, maybe he can't shoot like Kawhi Leonard, but Giannis can shoot. Giannis can drive. No one can stop Giannis. Giannis takes them as far as they go, and right now they are the team to beat. That chemistry is beautiful. I love it. It's sexy.
All right, Nick, what do you think about that?
Wow. After Sam had that, rant, I actually have to disagree with you over here. I actually think the Raptors are the team to beat. Sam, you actually said that Giannis was the best player in the East. You forgot about one man. His name is Kawhi Leonard.
It's not Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard is still currently the best player in the East. The Toronto Raptors have an amazing, good team around them. Extreme depth. They just added Marc Gasol, my bad. I get confused with him. But they just added Marc Gasol. Now their team is going 5. They're really strong. Their defensive presence cannot be overstated. I think Lowry, way better as a playoff choker. I think he'll come around. I think a lot of their playoff woes were more on DeMar DeRozan than Kyle Lowry himself. We saw a lower drop for him in the playoffs than we saw for DeMar. And I think with a player like Kawhi Leonard, they'll elevate everyone's game. Marc Gasol is he's on a tear right now. I mean, he's only been playing 22 minutes right. 2 nights ago. Nothing crazy. But I think, a motivated Marc Gasol in the playoffs will actually show people how good he still is. I mean, he was in the Grizzlies. Of course he's not going to try, 31-year-old Marc Gasol, he hasn't doing anything much. But now, I think he's really going to show people why the Toronto Raptors are the best team in the East.
Okay, so we've heard Bucks, we've heard Raptors. I'm going to take a little right turn here and talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. I actually think that the 76ers are the team to beat in the East. Here's why. For a ball club that has missed the playoffs consistently up until 2 years ago, I think it's their time to shine. Obviously coming in with a very, very talented young core, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, having those guys as your 2 main players is fantastic. Also having the shooting expertise of JJ Redick, who set a bunch of clutch shots in the past couple of games that I've seen. I think they've been doing fine ever since the start of the season. They may be 5th place right now. Yes, they're sitting way behind the Bucks and the Raptors, but you never know. Looking at the playoff tree, 5th place, 4th, whoever is 4th, whether it be the Celtics, the Pacers, anyone really. I think they will have a great time playing that team. I think they will pull through to the next rounds. Another thing that I really want to add is talking about recent trades. The Sixers did acquire, who is it?
Tobias Harris
and Boban Marjanovic.
Boban.
Toby and Bobby.
Exactly. That pair from the Los Angeles Clippers who are performing pretty well.
That's a great trade, by the way.
Exactly. Great chemistry, great addition to the team.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris, quality offensive player. Boban Marjanovic, tall, really big dude. Just
We all know. You can't miss. You really can't miss him. You really can't.
100% can. And I think adding that depth to the roster, obviously getting rid of a couple of players here and there, but adding them to that roster really solidifies that core. Especially because now you go from 2 superstars to 2 superstars and 3 top tier players. JJ Redick, okay, maybe not top tier, but he's a player that you need. Think of a Ray Allen in Miami Heat, right? Think of a Ray Allen in Miami Heat. He's an old shooter. He's been in the league for a while. He knows his stuff.
He fits the system great.
He fits the system absolutely fantastic. With a player like Ben Simmons who can dish the ball so well, who has that vision, who's a 6'10", player with point guard abilities. It's insane. And having these options, passing it to Tobias, passing it to JJ Redick, giving it to Joel Embiid in the post. This works. I think it'll work. It's been working recently. I think it'll keep working throughout the rest of the season. Obviously losing to the Celtics, very close game. Is that a preview for the Eastern Conference Finals? Never know. But we will see.
Now, go ahead to your point. Look, I'm not saying, Tyrone, that you're wrong with the 76ers. But right now, at this very moment right now, the 76ers are not the team to beat. The Milwaukee Bucks are literally the hottest team in the NBA, 42-14. I talked about how much I like John Horst, that GM. Let's not forget who they traded for at the NBA trade deadline. Jesus. Nikola Mirotic, another sharp shooter. You surrounded Giannis with Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon, Brook Lopez, and Nikola Mirotic. That's a crazy. That's a jump shooting team for the superstar that can't even shoot. And then obviously acquiring that coach Mike Budenholzer with his pace and space offense.
Right.
Allowing players to get open. Oh, I mean that is the team to beat. And look, the 76ers good, but maybe later on. Let the chemistry develop. We'll see what happens.
Exactly.
There's a lot of good players on that team. It has a lot of potential.
Yes.
But right now, this very day, the Milwaukee Bucks are the team to beat.
I mean, going off of what you're saying, you blow up a roster with the 76ers, you get rid of a bunch of pieces, bring in all these guys, Harris, Boban, Jonathan Simmons from Orlando. By the way, getting rid of Markelle Fultz in the process. I'm not, super for it, super against it. Does he have high upside? Yes. Has he shown his upside? Absolutely not. And I think that it's about time that he gets moved on because he has not shown the city of Philadelphia what it means to be a number 1 pick. Everyone's heard the conspiracy. Oh, they keep him out because his shoulder's hurt and we want to develop him as a player. Well, if by development you mean, over 50 different free throw techniques, playing 3 games in the season and not starting as the number 1 pick, who was touted or told, or who was predicted to be one of the best point guards to come into the league, who showed his shooting ability at Washington, who has the ability to ball handle and pass, who can drive and dunk when he needs to. You haven't seen it. And I think it's okay that they've gotten rid of him. I think the talent that they brought is very good. And I agree with you, Sam, that the chemistry needs to be built in order for this team to succeed. But I'm looking to the future. I'm looking, honestly, however a team finishes that is already in the playoff zone, right? Okay, you obviously want to get a higher seed, because maybe you'll play a worse team, maybe, it's an easier ride for you. But if, at the end of the day, what do teams want? A championship, right? Teams want a ring. And if it takes finishing between 5th through 8th and barely making a playoff seed, but developing that chemistry and that play style that will take down top teams, that's all that I care about.
Okay, wait. Who did they trade Markelle Fultz for?
Jonathan Simmons.
Okay. You know what points Jonathan Simmons is averaging?
No.
It's averaging 7 points. I'm 36% shooting. You're telling me you're going to trade Markelle Fultz? That's the best you can get for Markelle Fultz? Look, by all means, if he's not doing well, you want to win now, trade Markelle Fultz because he's going to be very good for the future. Trade him for something valuable. Jonathan Simmons has a massive contract. He's averaging 6 points. He's inefficient. I'm not happy with that trade. I'm not happy with that. You guys could have done a lot better than that. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I thought it was a good move to actually trade Fultz. At this point, they're a win-now team. They're not looking to develop him, but they could have got a higher return. Maybe in the summer, they could have seen a higher bidder more. So
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to utility versus absence. Obviously, for a team that's looking to continue into the playoffs again, I think that the 76ers didn't necessarily look towards how many points this guy scores. What's his shooting percentage? Obviously, his field goal percentage is important. But just to fill that spot, because they have other players on the team that can play before him. But just to have a guy out there that you can say, hey, you know what? You played well with the Spurs before. Why not try to play for us? Why not take the role that Markelle Fultz had, but because he didn't play for the entire season, why didn't you take it? Why not? Why not? You know, it's a test run. When do you go buy a car? When do you go buy a car, right? You request a test drive, right? You request a test drive. The 76ers got 2 test drives. The first one was with Markelle Fultz, and that car crashed and burned. The next one was with Jonathan Simmons. Not to say it's a huge one, but he's there for the rest of the season. I don't know how long his contract is, but I'm sure he won't be staying after that. So, you know, give him a ride into the playoffs. Why not?
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
No, it's whatever. Honestly, you know, 76ers, I forgive you for that trade because you got Tobias Harris, Boban. You did amazing. We're going to see. What do you guys actually think? Which team, you know, is going to make it out of the East now and play Golden State? Because we already know Golden State's going out of the West. We just need to determine which Eastern Conference team is going to play Golden State. So, Sauce, I want to hear your prediction first.
Very interesting. I think the same team that I said is the hottest team right now, also the team to make it out of the East. I still think that the Toronto Raptors will make it out of the East. Now, you know, the Toronto Raptors have been, not in a slump, but they've been cooling down a little bit. But I think, again, come playoff time, we'll again see the power of Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, all combined together. I think something that gets talked about not enough is defense. You know, offense is flashy, it's fun to watch, it's cool, but defense wins championships, and I think Toronto's starting 5 has a great defensive presence. I think Kawhi Leonard could possibly not stop, but slow down Giannis, and I can't say that for many other teams. I mean, who's going to really stop Giannis on the 76ers? Maybe Embiid, but I still think Giannis is too quick. I think that to have like a Giannis stopper, someone of really high caliber defensive skill, is necessary in order to come out of the East for this year. And I think the Toronto Raptors have the best player for that, and that's why Toronto Raptors are my choice.
I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Listen. Just wait. No. I respect the Toronto Raptors by all means. You know, there are 4 teams I really do respect here. It's the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Toronto Raptors, and I'm missing one, I know. It's the 76ers. That's it, yeah. So those 4 teams I can respect. You know, I don't necessarily agree with you, because here's why. You know, you're talking about locking down Giannis. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is a great defender. He's actually probably the best defender in the NBA. He's arguably one of the best defenders.
So.
But when you play defense on an all-star caliber player like that, you need to throw a lot of different players at him defensively. And that is what the Boston Celtics have to offer against the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not saying Milwaukee's going to make it out of the East, but just to go back to your point, they got Jaylen Brown. They have a lot of other great defenders. This team is great on defense. They're just undeniably great on defense. But the main reason for me why the Boston Celtics are going to advance, look, they're having trouble right now in the season. You know, they had to, Brad Stevens had to incorporate Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, 2 all-stars, back onto the roster from last year's team that was 1 game away, yes, 1 game away from going to the Eastern, from getting out of the East and playing the Warriors in the finals, beating LeBron. Now look, this team has so much experience because they were there the past 2 years. You look at this organization, you look at their experience. The Raptors haven't had success. The Bucks haven't had success. The Boston Celtics have consistently had success. Their players are accustomed to what it's like to play in the Eastern Conference Finals. I suspect Jason Tatum to go off and Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving to return to form as they do in the playoffs. You have an NBA championship on the team, for goodness sake. You have Kyrie Irving leading the helm. Maybe he's not in that top tier category with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kawhi Leonard, but you still have someone with championship pedigree, and that is absolutely necessary on this team. Ultimately, that's why I have Boston Celtics making it to the finals. Let's see what you have to say, Tyrone.
I'm actually going to go back to the 76ers and say that they are the team that will get out of the East. I actually neglected Jimmy Butler in my previous conversation, and there's a reason for that. Because, as quality of a player as Jimmy Butler is, as many clutch shots as he has hit in games for the 76ers, I don't think he'll be here that long. I don't think he will. It's a given. You know what I mean? People have thought about it, it's come up multiple times, and I don't think he will be there at the end of this, or maybe at the end of his contract with them. But looking at the roster, looking at the players that they have that core 4. Simmons, Harris, Embiid, Jimmy Butler. 4 quality guys on the floor that I don't think you can find a core 4 anywhere else with that type of quality players. Another question is looking at the bench. How is their depth? Boban Marjanovic, whether or not he starts, you never know. Having, again, Jonathan Simmons, a decent player off the bench. I don't think he's a top tier player again, but good off the bench, very good depth, quality utility player. Having PJ McConnell, who is proven to be an above average player when the time is right. Having that. Having players like James Ennis, who is not necessarily super known, but can come off the bench. Mike Scott, bringing in some veteran leadership into the squad. as well. Also, freaking Korkmaz and Amir Johnson, 2 players, again, not starters, utility players. That's one thing that the 76ers have, utility players. Talking about longevity is very important when it comes to playoff runs and championship aspirations. The Sixers have it, assuming that their core stays healthy. That is the only thing, playing the devil's advocate, the only thing that can stop the 76ers from making it so far is injury. And that's where I stand.
Okay, you just talked about durability. You just talked about having to have a lot of players on your team to win. You just talked about depth.
Yes.
If you're gonna talk about any team with depth, you need to talk about the Boston Celtics. I mean, they can go 9 players deep. They have look, they went to the finals they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year without their superstars in Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. So now you have all those players plus 2 All-Stars. Come on, you're talking about depth. You have to go with the Boston Celtics. They can go 9 players deep, and that is the team. Look, Philadelphia Sixers are a nice team. Look, they have some promising players. Talk about the starting lineup, but don't dare talk about the 76ers bench and compare that to the Boston Celtics bench.
Okay.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Great, and depth is important to have, especially for the regular season. It's important in the playoffs too. But you guys forget about the number one thing: superstar talent. That's the most important thing in the playoffs, and that's something that the Boston Celtics lack. They have somewhat in Kyrie Irving, but not to the same level as Giannis, not to the same level as Kawhi. They're lacking the superstar talent, and I don't think they'll make it because of that reason. Yes, they can go 9 players deep, but how good are those 9 players? They're 9 great players, but they don't have one superstar game-changing player either. I think that's the difference.
That's fair. That's fair. Well,
No depth, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, their depth there's an issue there.
Well,
especially
for the Toronto Raptors you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, the addition of Jeremy Lin to
well,
that
they
squad.
did. Yeah, they did.
Having OG
actually.
Anunoby, having other...
Serge Ibaka's on the bench.
Serge Ibaka's riding the bench now. You know, they have some decent depth. But
It's not Boston.
It's not as good as those
Exactly,
two.
exactly.
Yeah.
But,
It's good enough that it won't become a problem, I think.
Yeah, I think all 3 teams will be fine. I think all 3 teams will make it to the point of the playoffs where you can say confidently, I'm satisfied with this.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any first-round exits unless at some point any of these teams play each other in the early rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they'll be okay. I mean, you never know. The playoffs it's crazy. It's not as crazy as the NCAA playoffs. Don't get me wrong, March Madness is one of the greatest things that ever exist. But I think that you can't put a tab on the playoffs unless it's Golden State, which can also change. So, we'll see.
Wait. Let me hear that last statement again. You said Golden State could not possibly make the finals?
No. I'm saying you can't put tabs on who will make it unless it's Golden State.
Unless it's Golden State. Okay, good. You're good. Okay. I wasn't making sure.
I'm not crazy.
I think you were. The Philadelphia 76ers, I can respect it, but I'm just making sure I just gotta make sure.
I know what I'm saying. So on the topic of superstar talent, I think something really important that we should talk about is all-star talent that could potentially move on at the end of the season and or future from their current team. In my opinion, right, I think Kyrie Irving is on his way out of Boston.
Oh, really?
As unfortunate as it is for Boston Celtics fans, for Kyrie bandwagoners, for people who like the Patriots and then went, hey, there's basketball in New England and follow the Celtics, I think he's on his way out. I mean, we've heard the interview. 2 of them actually, where Kyrie admits that it's hard to lead a team. Mm-hmm. He's having a very hard and stressful time leading this team, and he apologized to LeBron, for saying stuff along the lines of, it's easy to lead a team, and I can lead my own team. Mm-hmm. Do I think Kyrie Irving plays well in the Celtics? Yes, but this might be a hot take. This might not. Kyrie Irving is an organizational cancer. He is a fantastic player. He's one of my favorite players to watch, ever. You know what I mean? Ever since I started watching basketball. He's very, flashy. He's a quality scorer. He can shoot the ball. He's very clutch. What have you. But he came into the Celtics with the idea that he will lead this team far. Have they gone far? Yes. But does he have the same confidence in his team as he did last season? I don't know about that. We all saw the interview. Mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving at the beginning of the year goes, yeah, I'll resign. When the contract.
If you'll have me.
Exactly. if you'll have me, right? But, maybe a couple weeks ago he goes around saying, someone asked Kyrie Irving, will you come back to the Celtics this year? And the answer was, ask me in the summer.
Right.
He said I was excited. That's why I said if you'll have me.
Exactly.
But now he's saying,
watch me in the summer.
Yeah.
Well, ask me in the summer. There's a little doubt there. I think his attitude has changed. You know what I mean? And this is one of the reasons why I think he's the most likely to lead the team. Obviously, we have very blatant decisions. I'm sure maybe you guys might talk about AD, you know, saying that he's going to go, he's requesting a trade.
Well, yeah, he doesn't care. We're talking about free agents. We're talking about upcoming free agents
exactly.
for this summer.
But yeah, there are blatant options, but in my opinion, I'm going to give it to Kyrie Irving.
All right, let me just quickly, before I start off with who I think, let me start off with what you said. Because you call Kyrie an organizational cancer. Look, is he a top-tier talent? Do I put him in the same category as Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, LeBron James? I do not. Is he an organizational cancer? I wouldn't say so, honestly. I feel like Kyrie Irving is best when he's the second scorer on the team. Mm-hmm. He's a sidekick. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kyrie had some really clutch shots. You know, you can attribute him to why LeBron has his ring in Cleveland because he hit that three-pointer. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's a little unfair to say call him an organizational cancer. Okay. Perhaps say he cannot lead a team and he needs someone else, another top-tier talent, to play with in order to propel his team to the championship.
That's a very good. That's a very good point, actually. I think that's how I should have rephrased it. But I think you hit the nail on the head with that analysis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, analysis. Going back to the Cavaliers, I don't know if anyone saw, you know, the what's the word for it? The structural analysis of their play style, the way that it worked through the Kobe documentary. But the Cavaliers played what's known as the Kings offense. Where they had two kings. You've seen this?
Cool.
Two kings. And that's why they function so well, and that's why they fail. Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, two kings. Every play, the ball ends up in one of their hands, right? Obviously, they'll pass. Obviously, they get assists. Obviously, the players will score. But primary scorers are Kyrie and LeBron. This is where I can see you're coming from because I'm calling them organizational cancer, and it could be, right, to some extent, as a solo player, as a solo star on team. Which is why I agree with you that he needs another guy. He needs someone else to lean on when he is not performing as well, when he's having a hard time. That's where I stand. I changed my response a little bit. I still think Kyrie's the most likely to leave, but I agree with you.
Yeah. Sorry, you know, I was gonna say mine, but I want to go. I want you to go first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. So you know, that's a very interesting point you have with Kyrie because I think my choice also has the same kind of situation. Again, not organizational cancer in this particular one, but I would actually say Klay Thompson.
Klay
Thompson,
stud, absolute stud.
Who obviously is an absolute stud, incredible player. One of maybe second best shooter of all time. We'll see. He'll get there. I think he'll get there by the end of his career. But again, you know, just like Kyrie kind of, you know, I think Kyrie does best as almost second fiddle or always sidekick or even 1A, 1B. I mean, at that point, it's just kind of semantics. I think Klay Thompson, I think he's been doing that for most of his career, kind of taking the shadow to Steph Curry, now Kevin Durant, and then whoever else they added on the team. At this point, I think that he kind of wants his own time to shine. And, you know, it's cliche to say, but I think the Lakers do have a good chance of signing Klay Thompson. Now, there are some issues if we're looking chemistry-wise because basketball is not just, you know, putting the ball in the basket. It's also about the players.
Right.
You know, LeBron and Klay, who knows if they have the best relationship.
Exactly.
You know, he said Klay did know that, you know, LeBron has feelings and then they get hurt sometimes.
No. That's on the basketball court.
Yeah,
bro, I'm telling you, Klay would love. He'd be dying
You really
to play
think that?
with LeBron.
For the quality, the
Dying.
quality of passing that LeBron has, and the fact that Klay is more of a catch and shoot player, and obviously he drives.
Yeah.
He drives to the basket.
Yeah.
But his primary game is catch and shoot. LeBron can find an open look like the side of the swing.
Oh, well, he could do great.
So
with
I think he's a
Klay
good
Thompson.
Exactly.
I think he's a great fit for the Lakers. I think, again, you have to ask yourself, is he going to leave Golden State, though? I mean, like, yes, the Lakers would be a great fit, but he's already in probably the best place that he could be in.
Exactly.
He's in the Warriors,
Yes.
you know? You can't really beat that. It's already the best system that's made for him. And the question is, you know, I imagine Golden State next year will still have probably title favorites, a great chance of the year.
Yes.
And if you think about legacy, I see no reason for him to really leave unless he kind of wants to have a challenge and take on a larger role. You know, I think he'll have a large role in the Lakers offense, a lot larger than he has now, even though he takes like 20 plus shots a game. I think that if that's what he's looking for, I think Klay Thompson would be a great fit for the Lakers.
I see that.
And I'd love to see that combination.
Again, because of LeBron's crazy court vision, LeBron generates, you know, open shots for his players around him. You saw in the Cleveland Cavaliers last year; they just couldn't make their shots.
Yeah.
But you have the best spot-up shooter in the NBA, arguably, and you paired him up, Klay Thompson, with LeBron James. That would be so fun to be, so fun to see.
That would be good, yeah.
That would actually be the Lake Show. That would be the Lake Show.
Lake Show?
Now to get to my pick, it was really tough because Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, can definitely leave. I can definitely see them leaving. The most likely to leave, I believe, is Jimmy Butler.
There we go.
Wherever this dude goes, there are always problems. He had problems in Chicago with D. Rose. He went to Minnesota, had problems with their leader, Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Now he went to Philadelphia. You saw reports about him having, problems with, Coach Brett Brown, arguing with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Look, I said it earlier, it was a bad fit to start off with. You have Butler, Simmons, can't shoot. You need excellent shooters. Look, Tobias Harris, JJ Redick, that's great.
Absolutely.
But because of Jimmy Butler's demeanor, I feel like he's been traded around so many times. He wants to choose where he's going to go. He wants to have control as a player. So this upcoming free agency, Jimmy Butler is going to use that free agency to his advantage, and he's going to choose where he wants to play. Unfortunately, as a Knicks fan, I feel like we're going to wind up missing out on Kevin Durant, striking up on Kawhi Leonard, and maybe striking out on Kyrie Irving, and we're going to be stuck with Jimmy Butler. Hopefully, we're not autistic enough to throw him a 5-year contract where he has so many injury problems, injury prone, because he is definitely not a top tier player.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Knicks need someone like that top tier talent. So if they sign just Jimmy Butler, they'll be very disappointed.
I really hope they don't.
Yeah,
I really hope they don't. That would, after they trade, franchise cornerstone Kristaps Porzingis, and you go to Jimmy Butler, please.
And he's a solid player. He's just not that superstar.
And he's even more.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler is even more of a personality cancer. Like talk about cancer.
100%.
Jimmy Butler has problems off the court distractions everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Now you're in the Big Apple. Oh, I would hate to see that.
Exactly.
Hopefully he goes. Ruin another organization. I feel like honestly, the only place where I could really see him thrive would be he needs to go somewhere where that top tier player is going to put him in his place. What do you guys think of? I think LeBron James.
I was gonna say
LeBron James.
I think LeBron James is the only player that has a say over it.
I think LeBron James can put Jimmy Butler in his place and change him for the better. So hopefully, if he leaves the Philadelphia 76ers, he goes to the Lakers. I feel like he'd also be a really good fit there. Jimmy Butler would be the second best player on that team. He can score, he can defend.
I mean, we said that last year. There was a prediction. It was Klay Thompson, LeBron, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Or a mix of any of the
Paul
super
George.
teams. Paul George.
Yeah.
But either way, you never know with the free agency. You never know who's gonna go where. Obviously, we kind of knew LeBron was going to the Lakers, but everyone else, it's really a toss-up.
That was hard last year. We didn't know. But
LeBron to the Lakers?
he could have went to the Rockets. He could have re-signed. He could have went to the Knicks.
Sure.
Yeah, basketball
Could've gone to the
fit,
Knicks.
people don't think Lakers. I think just more, holistic fit, the Lakers is perfect for him.
Exactly. I can see that.
Career-wise.
I just want to respond to what you said about Klay Thompson leaving.
Yeah.
Look, if Kevin Durant re-signs, then Klay Thompson is viable to leaving because of the max contract problems. If KD leaves, they are definitely signing Klay
I
Thompson.
agree with
If
that.
KD resigns, they still might find a way to sign Klay Thompson.
Right.
They still might find a way. Maybe they'll trade away Draymond Green because Klay Thompson is so instrumental to their success. You don't understand. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry can have off days, and then Klay Thompson can just go off for 44 and win the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We've seen it this season. We've seen it this season.
And he thrives off the ball. So he's really underrated on that piece. He's really underrated on that team. He's a key piece to what they do. Golden State does. And I would love to see him stay. But if not, obviously the Lakers would be my choice because he has so many good looks.
Exactly.
It's interesting you said that. Like, it's funny. He's an all-star. People know how good he is. But you said he's underrated, and I agree with that. He's actually become underrated. He's had like a down year.
He still is.
He's not shooting as good as he was before, and I think he'll come back to form. I think at this point he's underrated. I mean, we've seen him hit 14 threes in a game this season. Like we at the peak, we know how good Klay Thompson could be. Arguably the best player in the NBA when he's hot. So we see what can happen, and I think that he's come underrated. And then again, maybe he'll want that spotlight in LA.
You never know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting if Klay Thompson, what happens for free agency. I honestly can't wait.
Yeah.
But speaking of recent news, the NBA trade deadline was actually last week.
Right.
I want your takes on which teams, not won, which teams lost the NBA trade deadline.
Okay.
You
want to go first?
No, you get the first.
Okay, I'll go first with this one. I think the New York Knicks lost the trade deadline. I think.
It's a given.
I know it's hard for you. I know.
And you brought it up. Like
Exactly.
you brought it up.
I know. I'm sorry, but I have to be realistic. And me being realistic is saying that the New York Knicks lost the trade deadline. Obvious reason number one: Kristaps Porzingis now plays in Dallas.
Stop.
Okay, let's go for Porzingis stuff. Second issue that I have with this trade is giving up Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee. Who else did they trade away? There was another player. Who else did the Knicks trade away? It was Porzingis, Lee.
He just blocked it
I'm
out.
gonna keep let's give me an answer. So Porzingis, Lee,
Tim Hardaway
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Oh,
There we
no.
go, and then a couple picks here and there. for what I believe was
They
Dennis
didn't
Smith.
give away any
No
picks.
picks?
Trust
Did
me.
they
Trump.
get-
Oh no, they got picks. They got picks.
They got picks.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Please.
Good. That's good. That's good. So okay, giving away Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and receiving Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, and a couple picks, and maybe a third player was tossed in here. I don't remember entirely. I don't think that's the greatest move ever. Obviously, star talent is leaving. Obviously, you're giving up 2 shooting guards that added depth to your roster, however good the depth was. Hardaway Jr., I don't rate him as one of the best players, terribly shooting guard in the New York Knicks organization.
Yeah.
But for what team they had, for what talent they had at the beginning of the season until the trade deadline, he was good. He belonged in New York. He came back. We got him back for a reason, and now he's gone. Also, Dennis Smith Jr., amazing player. I think he's very good, very explosive to Dallas, very good upside, seen as one of the best players to come out of that draft. But Dennis Smith Jr. aside, picking up DeAndre Jordan, and then eventually, might I add, buying out Enes Kanter.
Oh yeah.
Also, which people do forget about, but it happened, is probably one of the biggest losses of this trade deadline as a combination of events. DeAndre Jordan's on a $20+ million deal, who is expected to leave after he declines his player contract to go to another team. Enes Kanter, big New York guy, he loved it in New York.
The fans love him too.
The fans
we love them
loved
also.
Exactly. He was a player that you couldn't get angry at. He loved being here. People loved him here. And the issue with the New York Knicks dropping him is, who's going to back up DeAndre Jordan?
Mitchell Robinson.
You think Mitchell Robinson has the potential to start, unless you're planning on tanking, which I think the Knicks, after losing 17 games straight, it is appropriate to start players like Mitchell Robinson. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think that if the Knicks want to get any success out of a season, they can't start a player like him.
Listen. Here's my take on this. Look, am I upset that Enes Kanter is gone? Of course, I loved him. He was great. He really epitomized the New York culture. But I wish you would have traded him for good trade value. I'm not mad that you actually got. Obviously I'm upset that you got rid of him as a personal standpoint. But basketball standpoint, I can understand dropping him because now you bring in DeAndre Jordan, who can mentor Mitchell Robinson. They have very similar game plan. They play very similar. And I just wish you could have gotten better value for Enes Kanter. So the Knicks marketed him poorly. They should have gave him more minutes. They should have gave Tim Hardaway Jr., quite frankly, and all these other guys, the veterans, a lot of minutes, and then traded them back for assets, and then played the young guys right now after the trade deadline. So I'm upset how that went. And obviously with Porzingis, you already know how I feel about that.
Exactly.
I voiced my frustrations last show. I'm not going to get into it now because the more I talk about it, the more I have pain.
Yeah. We don't have to address it too much.
So-
I understand how you feel. But just one more little thing to add here. How many wins will the New York Knicks get this season? Will they top the 18-win season that the New Jersey Nets had a couple years prior? Will they set the record for least wins, even less wins than the Bobcats and the Nets? Will they do that in the form that they're in, losing 17 games straight and having the quality that they have?
Yeah, they set an NBA record, 17 losses. That's an NBA record. No, that's a team record.
Team record.
The Knicks set a team record, 17 straight losses. I thought it got bad during the 2014-2015 NBA season, and now it just got now it's here again. It's PTSD.
Exactly.
Suffering Knicks fan. Being a Knicks fan, I don't want to get too off topic, but being a suffering Knicks fan, it actually gives you a lot of willpower because you get put through a lot. You get tested a lot. You're addicted.
Makes you a stronger person.
It makes you a stronger person, but at the same time,
I mean, your last playoff appearance was pretty much the start of the Mike Woodson era, and then the end of the era was the year later. But, you know what I mean? All I can say after this, get your paper bag hats out, Knicks fans, because it is not going to be a fun ride.
All right.
So, what do you guys think?
15 wins by the end of the season, but
15
we'll see.
wins?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
guess. 15.
All right, we got a little off topic with the Knicks because obviously it's easy to do.
He's a very passionate guy.
Negativity
He's a very
negativity is so contagious these days.
Very
But let's
passionate.
talk about another loser because I can't talk about the Knicks all day. I'm going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. And look,
Okay.
I'm not even going to talk about AD. I'm not going to talk about AD. What I'm going to talk about is when you have your poor players, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and now out of nowhere, you're a player. Now you're seeing reports online. You guys are expendable for this guy. Your team is putting you out there to trade. How do you feel to the organization? How does the loyalty feel? You don't feel any loyalty at all. There's literally no loyalty. So that team now you didn't make that trade for Anthony Davis.
Right.
I'm not saying necessarily you would have gotten better with Anthony Davis. What I'm saying is now you go into that locker room. That locker room must be a disaster because it's chaotic. You lose the trust between the organization.
Exactly.
Magic Johnson trying to say, you know what, we're going to hug it out. Magic Johnson, you weren't the one getting traded. You tried beating the player, and you tried, looking on the news and saying you are expendable for this other player. I would be very upset, and frankly, rightfully so. So I feel like there's a huge locker room problem there. That could hurt long term too, especially if you keep those players and now they go into free agency and they have that in their mind that you were trying to do your best to trade them away for this other guy. I'd be very upset, and that makes them a loser in my book.
I agree with you. I think it's very important. For players who are young talents who are trying to grind their way to the top levels of the leagues.
Yeah.
Two players, even veterans. Even veterans and young players who work their ass off every day at practice. Every day during the summer to work out, to stay in shape, just to succeed in this league, just to hear that you are expendable. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But just to play devil's advocate for you guys, players come into the league knowing it's a business. Players know that the reason why the league is so popular is A, marketing, and B, money. Where does the money come from? Profit. Where does profit come from? Players moving to different destinations. Merchandise sales. Media outlets getting a lot of stuff out, people making money over betting, over where players go, over which teams win, championship victories, contracts getting moved around. These things also affect the NBA. And I'm sure some players know that. I'm sure their agents pull them aside at the end of the day and go and say, hey, I know you love it here. I know you're so happy to be here. You love the fans, I know your family's here. But if the team needs you to go, I'm sorry, I can't change that. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think it's right for people to put players on the spot and say that you're supposed to be leaving, you're out of here, you don't belong anymore because we want a star and because you are what we need to get rid of. I don't think that's right. But at the end of the day, it's a business. People need to make money. The league needs to continue making money, and that's how it's going to be forever.
See, Tyrone, I agree with you. The NBA is a business, and there's almost no loyalty in the NBA now.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Isaiah Thomas. What
Right.
happened to him? He played after his sister died.
Exactly.
And now AD doesn't want to go there.
Perfect.
Sorry to interrupt you. AD's dad actually doesn't want to go to Boston now because of how they treat Isaiah Thomas. So it comes back to you. It's karma, really.
Yeah,
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
And then, what you were saying, Sam, with the Lakers, the chemistry and stuff like that, you have LeBron saying, I would love to play with these young players. I can't wait to play with the young guys, develop them. And then now you see on the other side, this trade. And it's not like they're trading a few players, too. They were trying to trade the farm. They're going to trade Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Kuzma. When they had Zubac, they were going to trade multiple 4 or 5 players and picks. And it's like, that's how expendable you are. Not like, we would need 5 of you to create one Anthony Davis. And to see that as a player who, again, are trying the hardest, training, they're young, they're new to the NBA. To have that, it's hard for them to have that confidence. You think when LeBron passes them an open ball, they're going to feel confident shooting that ball? Knowing that when they miss, trade deadline talks are going to be happening?
Oh, it's the opposite. They're going to be selfish now and shoot the ball to get their market value up. They're not going to play like a team. They're not going to pass the Exactly. The chemistry is all ruined. And to go back to your point, look, we talk about how we hate when players leave because they're not loyal. Look, I'm telling you, if Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, or Lonzo Ball leave, don't go crying and be like, oh, you're not loyal. No, the Lakers organization tried to trade those players. The organization wasn't loyal to them. They are allowed to leave.
It's the teams that are not loyal, not the players.
NBA loyalty is dead. At the end of the day, it is dead. Not because, not because of the players, but because they have no say in where they go unless it is free agents. That's it. Trades are through the general management, through the coach. If you don't fit, if we don't want you, you're gone. And that is very sad for players who love the game.
Loyalty has become overrated. Why be loyal when you can be selfish and get better things?
Exactly.
Look at AD. why stay with the organization when I just request a trade?
Exactly.
It's a sad development in the league, and arguably we could say Kevin Durant kind of started a lot of this more recent things. But I think at the same point, it's not a good direction for the NBA.
No, 100%.
This kind of loyalty.
100%.
Maybe some rule changes will happen, and something will happen with this, but at this point in time, there's no loyalty between teams and players.
Exactly.
I think Thomas also, that was a huge thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Seeing I want to talk more about AD.
Right.
Just really quickly, seeing a player like AD who is choosing to leave the organization that raised him says something about the nature of the league. He knows his father knows deep down that everyone, at the end of the day, no matter how good you are, is expendable. No matter how good you are. Some players less than others. Obviously, superstars like LeBron, Curry, whatever have you, won't move. But, at the end of the day, people are expendable in the league. That's what's forced players to make decisions to go to teams that will win because they want to get their they want to get to that victory as soon as possible, no matter which way it goes.
Okay.
Which is sad.
Yeah. So I have one more team that I'm thinking of who's a loser, but I want to see Sauce. Do you have one before?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Just the last talk on the Anthony Davis thing.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about the loyalty is dead. Anthony Davis was a no-drama player.
Mm-hmm.
No one thought of him as talking out of his trade or trading out of his team last year. If you said 6 months ago that AD would do this, everyone would be surprised. And now you have him doing this, and it's just more of a indication of how the league has become.
Exactly.
Because he's been a quiet, respectful player. He never trash talked. He never did anything. He just had his unibrow and played. That's it. That was all there was to him. And now he's not even Kawhi Leonard, who was the quietest player in the NBA. Even he requested a trade out of San Antonio.
Exactly.
I think again, it's just a larger trend.
I don't agree with Anthony Davis. I don't think that he was loyal to that. I think he should have stayed there. But we gotta get on. We gotta keep on. We gotta stay on track.
Okay.
So who's your loser?
All right. So my loser for the NBA trade deadline was actually the Boston Celtics. Now the Celtics did not make a single trade. Now they didn't lose because they didn't do anything, but also they lost because they didn't do anything.
That's fair.
They lost not by subtraction, but by not adding anything else. Because you look at all the other teams and. They added a lot, the Toronto Raptors added Marcus Gasol, 76ers added Toby and Bobby,
right.
And then, even the Bucks added Mirotic, who's also an amazing player.
Right.
And then the Celtics have done nothing to make moves. And they also have a horde of assets. They have a lot of assets that are available.
Absolutely.
And they did nothing with it, And I think that their plan is to wait for the summer. But I think at this point, the East could be theirs if they had a few successful trades. And that's why I think that the Celtics lost the trade deadline.
Yeah, going back to your point, the Toronto Raptors, all these other teams, these 3 other teams, the Raptors, the Bucks, and the 76ers, all improved. They all made moves at the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the Bucks, they acquired Nikola Mirotic.
Right.
The Raptors acquired Marc Gasol.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, adding Tobias Harris and Boban.
Right.
Look, Celtics did nothing. Definitely doesn't look good for them. So they have to be losers for this trade deadline, for sure.
You think they lost? You really think they lost?
I really think they lost, yeah.
I don't know, because, let me... Hold on. Let me explain.
I think they lost. They didn't do anything.
They lost.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
I have.
I'm sure you both have. I'm sure you both
They're
have.
6th. They're like 5th seed.
They're 5th seed.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it's broke, you gotta fix it.
No, I don't agree that
And if it's broken, and Nicole Mirotic.
I don't believe that system is broken. Here is why. You have a young core of players that have not changed from last year. Like you said earlier in the episode, a young core of players who have the experience of making it far.
So add someone else. Add someone.
Why would you add someone else? Why would you risk blowing up a young player's contract, losing the potential talent that you already have on the team for, a player who has the quality, who has the experience, but who will ruin your salary cap for the next couple of years?
They have draft picks.
There's so much flexibility.
No,
Harold,
I don't know.
You're out of here. Tyrone, they could have traded for someone that had an expiring contract.
Yeah, like who? An old player with a minimum 1 year deal?
A good vet, yeah, sure.
You think a good vet, right, who is probably, at this point, if they're old enough, has been on a team that's made the playoffs, but has ridden the bench because they are old and don't belong in the lineup, you think trading any of the Boston Celtics pieces for that player is a good idea?
Well, what I do think is that in this arms race of the East, they have fallen behind. And if they don't do anything, they're going to be the first team to be out. Between the 4 teams, they're going to be the first team to be out.
Okay, you're going to be out?
Yeah, they're going to be out.
Tyrone? It's
I think between the Celtics and the Raptors.
It's on Tyrone.
Between the Celtics and the Raptors, they're the first team to be out.
I can't see the Celtics leaving the playoffs. I talked about how Kyrie Irving is not fit to lead the team. I stand by that.
We'll find out how.
But when we look at talent, when we look at depth, when we look at longevity, I might be going against my former points talking about the Sixers, but they have that. They have the experience. They have the talent.
Listen, the leader, Kyrie Irving, the leader last year was Tatum. Tatum was the leader.
He was
and I think
it was amazing.
They overperformed. I don't think it's going to happen.
They overperformed.
Okay,
you have a problem with the team overperforming in the playoffs.
I do.
When the odds are against them.
I do because they were one win away from the finals, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. But who were they playing? Well, LeBron and no one else.
That's amazing.
LeBron and the goon tag,
You put a young team who has never made it.
One percent at a time.
You put. Would you say something? Are you playing NBA 2K?
Yes.
NBA 2K.
It was LeBron. LeBron was 75 overall.
I can't do this.
You're
I can't do this. I can't talk.
He didn't even know what time it was.
Game stats
He didn't even know what the score was.
Into a segment where we are using legitimate fact.
They're going to be out. Kyrie's going to choke.
Boston Celtics will make the playoffs and go far. That is my talk. I can't do
You're
it.
ridiculous.
Can't be next time. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
God. So people, can you believe this?
Okay then. And with that, I guess it's time for What You Doin? All right, let's start. We got some great highlights. It's been a while since we did What You Doing, so we're chilling right now. But first off, we have. I got you, bro.
Okay.
Who was in here before? I can't remember.
I don't know. Probably some crazy
Some angry Celtics.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Knicks this time. Okay. Back on track. We got Ben Simmons. I lied. Yes. We got Ben Simmons.
Oh no.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm a little nervous. I haven't seen this one. Okay.
Right.
Okay. It's looking good. Oh, this is perfect.
Alright, open layup, open up.
Oh,
Oh, no. What are you doing?
Oh my god.
What do you think Ben Simmons was doing?
I would love to know what he was doing. I have no idea what he was doing.
Okay, let's see. Next up, we got
Provided by TurboTax.com.
Next up, we got Kyrie Irving. We're playing 2K, and this guy has the 2K
Oh my
glitch.
god. Please reconnect to a controller. That's too funny. Kyrie, what are you doing? This is why the Boston Celtics. This is why.
Alright, next up we have Anthony Davis.
Oh shoot.
And let's get to the what you doing. Let's get to where the what you doing magic happens.
Oh, the magic.
I'm getting booed.
Don't try to
So,
my
look,
team.
so watch this. The fans are booing him.
And whether his
Fans are
defense is
booing him.
lacking or at least he's
But then he makes a basket.
Oh, and then they start
the
cheering.
rainbow jumper.
They start cheering after he's booing him.
No
And
way.
they made quote outrageous demands.
What's that? What's that? I hear cheers.
New Orleans fans, let me teach you something. You can't boo a player and then cheer
5
for them
seconds later.
5 seconds later.
New Orleans fans have the shortest memory I've ever seen. They love him now. He's great. Oh, what are you doing?
You know, the Cavs are fine because, you know, LeBron left, you boo him, but then, like, he came back. That took, like, 5 years.
Yeah, that took a while. They burned some
my
jerseys for that.
goodness. Oh, my goodness, man. I don't
Anthony
know.
Davis just had to make a basket.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Okay. Well, we got Russell Westbrook now.
Oh, Russell. What are you doing?
Here's my favorite part, though. He comes back to the rim.
He starts checking it out.
He's checking it out.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong with that rim. I should have slammed it. I respect that.
Like,
Not gonna lie, that would have been a huge slam.
Dude, that was so bad. I can't do this, bro.
That would have been a huge slam. Oh man. Then there's one. Well, it's been a great episode of Ballaholics, episode 10. We will see you guys later. Thank you for joining us. I have been Sauce. There's Sam, Tyrone, and have a good time.